This is a product video for Eagle Enterprises custom cut striping kits. And here are the details. Here's the URL for the homepage. There are 681 kits available. Each one is custom measured to precisely fit. Film used is Avidanson 3M or Trauma. Comes with premium cast vinyl with air egress and repositionable adhesive. Standard striping kits created by sign shops and installers require production. First, the file has to be created. The wrap film is then loaded into a plotter and cut. The material is then weeded and pre-masked. The stripes are then cut down into installer-friendly sizes, and if they are rolled in the wrong direction, the pre-mask will wrinkle the vinyl. Also, this setup is 2D based. When applying them to flat sections on the vehicle, they work fine, but even moderate curves can cause the pre-mask to bunch and go offline. For flat sections or moderate curves, the pre-mask can still be left on, but when the curves become more severe, it has to be removed. This means installers are squeegeeing directly on the film, which can cause it to scratch or overstretch and or wrinkle. In all these scenarios, the quality of the final product and alignment can drop, as well as lead to frustrated installs and unhappy clients. For Eagle Enterprises custom kits, there's no measuring or production. Simply pick the design and film in the catalog and then order at this number. Shipping times will vary between 1 and 2 days. All Eagle Enterprise custom striping kits come in a sealed core tube, and the film is packed so that it will not get damaged during transit. Smaller panels are often set inside larger ones, and always roll the film out on a flat table in the correct order for solid workflow during the install. In every kit, there will be an installation guideline sheet that the installer should reference in order to get the best results. Some simple kits like this will be straightforward to lay out, while other kits will have multiple pieces. They will be labeled on the back of the panels, which makes it easy to reference to the printed template that comes with the kits. You will also see alignment markers on the pieces to indicate the center or body line points for reference. All raised objects are pre-cut for smooth installs. For prep, the workspace should be between 50 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. First, do a general clean. Then, follow with a clay bar. Finally, degrease. There should be no hardware removals needed, and the install should be done in a low traffic area to keep dirt down. Always begin the cleaning process by using a general cleaner. This can be soap and water, preferably baby shampoo. Use either heavy-duty paper towels or microfiber tile. Next, use a clay bar to smooth out the application surface in order to get a professional result. Before degreasing, wipe off the soapy residue from the clay bar process, and to degrease, use 70% Isopropyl Alcohol. Always pour and don't spray, and then use overlapping strokes to ensure getting 100% of the surface clean. If wrapping over gas caps, always open to make sure this area is clean on the inside and on the edges. For doors, be sure to open the door and clean the body and the inside edge of the door. This is critical for long-term hold and quality. There are 2 types of custom kits available, one for body lines, another that needs to be centered. Here are the tools needed in order to get a professional result, and is preferable to work on OEM paint in good condition. It is very important to use a nick-free squeegee. If the squeegee is used, a good tip is to run the edge of the squeegee in the grooves of another squeegee. This will smooth the edges out. If the surface of the vehicle is sensitive to scratches, it's best to use a squeegee with a felt buffer. Be sure that the buffer is thin in order to get the right pressure transfer. Avoid using magnets to anchor the stripes on the vehicle. Magnets can often leave an impression on the film that may not flatten out over time. Therefore, it's best to use 1-inch masking tape to set the panel in place and use as a temporary hinge. Before putting a panel down on the vehicle, go over the application area with the tack cloth to remove specks of dirt. Do this on the backing paper as well. This will dramatically help avoiding dirt. There are 2 types of custom kits from Eagle Enterprises, and we begin with ones that naturally fit to body lines. These panels have a uniform excess of pre-mask around the film. Installers can either line the edge of the film up to the body edge or the edge of the pre-mask. This is up to the client, so be sure to discuss this before installing. For long panels, secure at the top and bottom with 2 pieces of masking tape so it holds the exact spot. Next, make a temporary hinge. It's best to use 2 pieces of masking tape horizontally, then secure the sides with 2 short vertical pieces. For optimal workflow, it's best to set both panels up at the same time. Once set, fold the panel over and release the backing paper. To cut away the backing paper, if using a knife, be sure to hold the panel away from the vehicle to avoid cutting the paint. The best option is to use a snitty or rounded scissors, as these can't damage the paint. Now, make a 1/2-inch squeegee stroke from side to side just past the masking tape, then work towards the top in overlapping squeegee strokes. Keep the squeegee as flat as possible to the surface and the angle of the squeegee at 45 degrees. Remove the masking tape holders at the bottom and place on the sides of the panel. These will be used to ensure that the panel stays straight from top to bottom. Next, pick up the panel and pull the liner halfway. Hold it flat to the surface. Line the sides of the pre-mask edges up to the masking tape markers, then release the rest of the backing paper. If there's a wrinkle in the film, be sure to pull this flat to the surface before squeegeeing. Because Eagle Enterprise kits are custom measured for the vehicle, they will conform exactly flat to all curves. Once flat, simply use overlapping strokes to apply to the bottom. Once the film is applied, always go over the edges in a 360-degree loop to make sure all the edges are sealed. Then, using the hard side of the squeegee, double squeegee the film on the surface to make sure it's 100% adhered. Now it's simply about removing the pre-mask. Pull up a corner, then pull as close to a 180-degree angle as possible. This will help keep the film on the vehicle. For trickier sections like the side of the vehicle, installers can use the image of the kit as an exact reference point. Masking tape holders are again used, in this case multiple vertical holders, as these will keep the panel from dipping during the install. In this case, the pre-mask edge is being aligned up to the body line. Once in place, another pre-mask temporary hinge is made. For long panels like this, always begin with the thicker side, as this will better anchor the piece in place. Once this section is squeegeed onto the surface, use the masking tape holders again as reference points by turning them horizontally along the top edge of the pre-mask. Then release the entire liner. Then tack it in place every 10 inches. This will keep the panel perfectly straight along the body line when the film is squeegeed onto the surface. Use overlapping squeegee strokes and work towards the end. Double squeegee the entire piece and edges, and always pull the pre-mask towards the thinnest point, as this will help keep the film on the vehicle. Before cutting the film bridging the gaps, run a finger to set up the edges. Then click the blade before cutting to ensure that it's sharp. Next, be sure to cut on the correct side. In this case, it's the side of the gas cap. Once cut, run a finger on the edge to form the film around the edges, then squeegee the film securely to the vehicle. For doors, always cut on the side towards the front of the vehicle. This ensures that the edge facing forward is going into the body. Now we get to more complicated kits, and these are ones that have to be centered. In this case, it's a full body center stripe kit that goes from the front bumper all the way to the back bumper. What is particularly great about Eagle Enterprise kits for this is that a knife will not be needed to be used during the entire install, since the pieces are perfectly cut to shape for each section. To set the center lines for each section, it's best to make center marks with masking tape beforehand, with a pen and a ruler. Cut the masking tape into multiple pieces, then set them aside to be used as needed. There are several ways to find the center point on a vehicle. One is to find the center by measuring between two symmetrical body lines. Here the tape measure is secured to the sides, then the masking tape marker is placed directly in the middle. For the front of the hood, the marker can be placed directly on the body line, as this one is naturally centered. Another natural center point can be keyholes, in this case on the trunk. The line is placed directly in the middle. On the trunk, the width of the trunk was measured first, then a marker placed for measurement working from the outside edge into the center point. Here the center point is found in between the holes for the license plate. Once the points are marked, the installer can use the indicator markers built into the panels by Eagle Enterprise. This allows the installer to quickly line up the panel for install. The steps for installing the panels for centered stripes is exactly the same for installing ones that are on body lines. First, create a temporary hinge. Cut away the backing paper using a snitty preferably. Then, once the liner is removed, make a permanent hinge with a squeegee stroke, then work up in overlapping squeegee strokes. For this edge, the film will wrap around about 1/4 of an inch. With the top set, release the backing paper and lay the film flat. Unlike the bodyline kits, which work off of the masking tape markers on the sides, the center kit won't go off these. Instead, the inside edge of the pre-mask of both stripes will be lined up to the center line on the masking tape. Match one side to the line, then butt joint the other pre-mask edge to the first one. This will create a flat, wrinkle-free panel that it can be squeegeed easily to the surface, with a perfectly symmetrical gap in the center. Another added benefit to the Eagle Enterprise kits is for curves. The pre-mask can be left on. The panel conforms perfectly to the curve. This ensures high quality and fast installs. And here's a good shot of the perfect alignment from top to bottom. Here, 1 inch at the top, 1 inch at the bottom. The 2D kit at the beginning of the video was already off by 1/8 of an inch. Here's where it gets very interesting. From the top of the trunk to the back bumper. Multiple pieces will be used, which require a variety of different techniques. For the top of the trunk, the panel is centered and the bottom edge of the panel is lined up to the spoiler. This automatically will give the top edge the 1/4 inch wraparound needed. This panel includes both stripes and is installed using the temporary hinge method. Same usual steps as for the hood. For the bottom section of this panel, it's simply laid flat once the backing paper is released. The edge of the film will line up exactly to the edge of the spoiler. Once the film is in place, simply squeegee it onto the surface, then, once it's been applied, squeegee all the edges, then double squeegee the main surface area. To release the pre-mask, simply pick up a corner, then pull towards the top. Pulling towards the top will keep the excess film around the edge from tearing. Once at the top, run a finger around the edge, then once it's rounded, run it again towards the other side. Then, to seal the edge completely, come back with a squeegee stroke at a flat angle. The remaining pieces for this area will be done in individual stripes. For this one, markers are made from the pre-mask to the masking tape. The backing paper is removed and the markers are simply lined up. This will keep the panel in exact position. Once the markers line up, then simply squeegee in place. For the rounded edge at the bottom, a finger works well to conform the film, and then the squeegee will seal the deal on the edge. For the piece below the spoiler, the backing paper is released and the top edge is simply lined up to the bottom edge of the spoiler and the sides to the stripe above. Very easy and straightforward. For the top of the bumper, be sure to open the trunk in order to make sure the stripes fit exactly where they need to go. Some panels may look very similar, so make sure you double check the label on the back before applying. Once the right panel is picked, the backing paper is released and the top edge is matched to the body line and the side to the masking tape that's right in the center. In this case, the stripes have a 1-inch center gap, so the width of the masking tape can be used. For sections with raised objects like door handles, antennas, or in this case, the holes for the license plate, simply release the liner and place the panel around this area and line an edge up to the body line. Because all the adhesive on Eagle Enterprise film is repositionable, the panel can easily be picked back up and down off the surface until the right spot is found. Keep in mind that recessed areas should never be bridged and the material forced in. This will overstretch the material and distort the edges. Therefore, it's best to pick the panel back up and feed it uniformly into the recessed area and then back out. Doing this keeps the sides straight and the bottom edge fits exactly where it needs to go. Plus, it doesn't overstretch the film. For post-install, final adhesion is reached 24 hours if the vehicle is above 50 degrees Fahrenheit. There's the required post-heating temperature. Always do a heat check over when you're done to look for loose edges and bubbles. Aftercare products need to have a pH balance between 5 and 9. Recommended Aftercare products are Crofgate. Once all the stripes are on, go over all the edges and the main surface area with a heat gun to make sure they are 100% sealed and that there are no bubbles on the surface. For hard to reach areas, always open doors, or in this case the trunk, to make sure the edges are completely sealed. This will ensure long-term durability. To be fully sure that the material won't lift, a good tip is to post-heat the area between 175 and 195 degrees Fahrenheit. To maintain the custom stripe kits, it's recommended that proper aftercare kits are used. The Crofgate aftercare kits are recommended by Eagle Enterprise. To remove the stripes, propane torch, heat gun, steamer, or IR heater should be used. It'll leave minimal adhesive residue behind if done within the warranty period. If the removals are done within the warranty period, they should come off in one sheet. Otherwise, if it's past the warranty period, they'll come off in tiny pieces and leave adhesive residue behind. When removing the film, be sure to heat it up thoroughly, then pull as close to a 180-degree angle as possible. If the paint is OEM and in good condition, there should be no paint failures. For more information and order custom kits, you can go to this URL or follow Eagle Creek Enterprises on these social media outlets. This has been a product video for Eagle Enterprises custom striping kits, proudly produced by the Rep Institute.